Now, this chapter is about spatial planning. Now, first of all, we need to define what is spatial planning, how we organize the land uses for different purposes, right? Now, basically, it is if we can put it this way, it is the work of the urban planner or master architect that identify specific zones where people can live, where people can work, where people can have leisure. So in this particular lecture, it is all about spatial planning, its importance, and how it helps in making our lives and environment more comfortable and better to live in. Now, spatial planning is concerned with the problem of coordination or integration of the spatial dimension of sectoral policies through a territorially based strategy. Now, this is one of the main concerning spatial planning. Now, we've got works by authors such as Cullingworth and Nadim that dates back to 2006 that you can consult to have more insight on spatial planning. Now, spatial planning is more complex, right? It is more complex than simple land use regulations. It addresses mostly the tensions as well as the contradictions that exist amongst sectoral policies such as economic development, environmental, as well as social cohesion policies. Now, the main role played by spatial planning is basically to promote a more rational arrangement of activities and to reconcile competing policy goals. Now, the scope of spatial planning differs from country to country. However, we have noted a lot of similarities, though, that exist from even countries to countries. Now, in almost all countries, spatial planning is concerned with identifying long or medium-term objectives as well as strategies for the territories while dealing with land use as well as physical development as a district sector of government activity. Now, it also allows for coordinating sectoral policies such as transport, agriculture, as well as the environment. Now, again, if you want to learn more about it, you can browse through the research work done by Koresawa and Konvitz that dates back to 2001. Now, what about the definition for spatial planning? So we can see from the literature when you search on the net that various definitions exist. Now, one such example, one such definition comes from the Compendium of European Spatial Planning, which defines spatial planning as a method used largely by the public sector so as to influence the future distribution of activities in space. Now, this is from the European Commission, and it is a rather old document that dates back to 1997. Now, along those same lines, the compendium states that spatial planning is undertaken with the aims of creating a more rational territorial organization of land uses and the linkages between them. Basically, it looks at finding a balance, I mean, a balance in the demands for development with the need to protect the environment and to achieve both social and economic development goals. It also embraces measures uh, that will enable coordination of the spatial impacts of other sectoral policies to achieve a more even distribution of economic development between regions than would otherwise be created by market forces. And also it aims at regulating the conversion of land as well as property uses. Now, in the United Kingdom, the government defines spatial planning as going beyond traditional land use planning. Now, this goes beyond, as we said, the traditional means and method of planning land use so as to integrate policies for the development and use of land with other policies and programs that influence both the nature and function of the places. This includes policies that can impact on land use, but which are not capable of being delivered solely or mainly through the granting or refusal of planning permission, and which may be implemented by other means. Now, this comes directly from the United Kingdom Office of the Deputy Prime Minister and it dates back to 2005. Now, in Slovenia, spatial planning is defined in the 202 Spatial Planning Act as an interdisciplinary activity involving planning land use, determining the conditions for the development and location of activities, identifying measures for improving the existing physical structures, and determining the conditions for the location and execution of planned physical structures. And if you want to learn more, again, a document exists that can be obtained from the Special Planning and Energy from the Slovenian Ministry of Environment, and this document dates back to 2002. Now, why is spatial planning important? Now, spatial planning is critical for delivering economic, social, and environmental benefits. How? By creating more stable and predictable conditions for investment and development. By securing community benefits from development and also by promoting careful, diligent use of land as well as natural resources for development. Spatial planning is thus an important lever for promoting sustainable development and improving quality of life. Now, this is something that is being warranted in many countries around the world, going for sustainable planning, sustainable development. Now, the spatial planning is becoming increasingly recognized in international policy documents. So its impact is worldwide, it's global. The growing commitment to sustainable development in many countries and the increasing interest in spatial planning systems and policies infer that there is currently considerable opportunities to reshape and strengthen spatial planning system amongst a number of countries worldwide. Now, continuing along the line of why is spatial planning important, some countries have already made progress in introducing new spatial planning systems. But there is still considerable scope for further improvement. They've seen the advantages of such a system, and there are many uh, great opportunities ahead in refining and adapting the system. Spatial planning has a key role in providing a long-term framework for development and coordinating policies across sectors. Spatial planning can also provide a vision and common direction for policies and programs. Now, it can also identify priorities for policy. It can help to avoid duplication of effort by different departments and spheres of the government, and thus assist in the coordination among sectoral policies. Spatial planning can also help to promote economic growth and investment while guiding the policies for protecting the environment and promoting more efficient use of resources, which is again in line with the goals and objectives of sustainable development.